Subscribing to The Observer on YouTube couldn't be easier, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. First, navigate to www.youtube.com/theobservernj. Once you get there, all you need to do is hit the subscribe button. Next to the subscribe button, click the down arrow and then all. And that's it. You're subscribed, and now anytime The Observer is live, you will be notified. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you live from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com on this, the 8th day of April in the year 2025. Sure hope you're enjoying your Tuesdays, no matter where it is you are in the country. And as you do each and every Tuesday, welcome me into your home so that I can bring you this week's news. And as we have been doing each and every Tuesday for the last couple of weeks and for all the weeks moving forward, I welcome in my dear friend, the one and only, the immortal Tony Mondaro. Tony, good afternoon, brother.
Kevin, is it winter or spring?
What is going on? I mean, my watch, which is probably wrong because you didn't issue this forecast, says 43. What the hell was 82 the other day?
All right, so Kevin's watch's temperature is 43. The temperature, that's the watch. You're going to use that temperature for Kearny. Right now, we're a little bit warmer at 45.5 degrees.
Whoa.
That northwest wind is howling, my friend, at almost 40 miles an hour in the wide open areas today. So if you're out and about today and or your kids have after school activities, as all mom used to say and grandmoms, bundle up.
Truly, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna be honest. I put away my winter coat. I didn't think I was gonna need it, but that thing is back out, and man, it just. This is, but again, it's April though, too, right? I mean, so it's we've always talked about the blizzard of '82. So it's happened in this month where there's been substantial snow, and in fact, there's a great video on YouTube from WABC Channel 7 of the coverage of that blizzard and how bad it was. But I guess we got to be, maybe we're spoiled that it was already 80 twice in this neck of the woods, huh? What is it? I don't get it.
I'll tell you, we just had the 43rd anniversary of that blizzard on Sunday, the blizzard of '82. And I can remember I was a senior in high school. It was on a Friday. The Harrison Street Department was diligently picking up the snow off the street as they usually do when we have substantial snowfall. And I think 2 or 3 weeks later, I believe it was about 3 weeks later, temperatures were warm again. The National Weather Service, for those who are out and about for this evening, has issued a freeze warning. What that means simply is if you haven't listened to us and you went ahead and planted your vegetables or you have potted plants outside, cover the vegetables, cover your plants, uh, bring your potted plants indoors because tonight temperatures are going into the mid to upper 20s here in our area for overnight lows. I wouldn't be surprised, Kevin, and someone to the north and west of us are in the upper teens to low 20s by the time tomorrow morning comes around. We get one more nice day on Wednesday, still chilly, with temperatures in the 40s, perhaps the low 50s. And then it looks like unsettled weather comes in as we get a more of a southerly wind, and we get chances of rain showers once again for Thursday, Friday, and I'm afraid through the weekend. But it'll be like last weekend. It won't be raining all of the time, and this is just a pattern that we're in. As far as soil temperature is concerned, since we brought up the freeze warning, right now Rutgers University, the Weather and Climate Data Center there, has the temperatures in northern New Jersey, depending on where you are, in the upper 40s to lower 50s. So it looks like another freeze is upon us for tonight. And those who have those green thumbs and already have stuff out there, please be aware of that.
Yeah, I know you don't go beyond really the upcoming days, but I mean, are we gonna get any warmth? I mean, I just I would expect it by now, and I wonder when it's cold like this, will this have any kind of effect on the cherry blossoms that we're so used to in this neck of the woods? I haven't seen too many yet.
Well, I believe out in Branchbrook Park, I think they're starting to come out. And
Okay.
no, I don't think it's going to be brief, Kev, as far as the freezing temperatures. I believe only tonight, and then we start to moderate overnight. Not a lot. It'll be in the 30s, but it'll be above 32 degrees. We're forecasting 33 to 38 degrees for overnight lows for tomorrow night, right through Thursday night, and then it gets into the 40s. And as far as any type of appreciable warm up, it looks like it's going to be sometime early next week where we get back into the lower to perhaps the middle 60s.
If you are just joining us, Tony Mondaro, the longtime director of the Harrison Weather Center, is here in his regular Tuesday afternoon spot. I have to bring up the Mets, the great start. You were out at City Field on Sunday. Tell us a little bit about your experience out at City Field when you were there on Sunday.
Well, we had a good trip. I went out there with my godson David, and we went out to City Field. And it's the first time in a long time that my brother Charlie didn't go with us. And usually Charlie becomes unhinged at the corner of Davis and Harrison Avenue as we head towards City Field because he doesn't like the heavy traffic. It's part of the experience. So what we did,
Yeah.
we went on a Sunday this year, and we had very light traffic on the way there. Had nice seats there at the ballpark, had a great day, topped off by a Mets win, and we had our normal, heavy bumper to bumper on the Cross Bronx on the way back over to George Washington Bridge. But Kev, what a day! It was a nice day, and I usually go. We try to go one early and one late in the season, and my stepdaughter Vicky we take. She would never went to a Mets game 3 years ago, and this is our third year now going. We have stepdad stepdaughter day for the Mets, every year now, and it's kind of been like a tradition, and it's really really nice. And she's only a few minutes away from City Field, about 10 minutes as the bird flies to the South City Field, and there's Vicky. So it's really nice. We have family right in that area.
Ah, that's great. That's great. You get to catch up if you get to see them. Let me ask you this. You're a longtime Met fan, the way I am too. Compare
Sure.
City Field to the experience that you used to get at Shea Stadium. It's not even close, right? The
No,
difference.
no, not at all. And believe it or not, I believe the inaugural season for City Field was in 2009, and
Hmm.
that stadium still looks like it's brand new. They really keep it up nice. And Shea Stadium, I don't really have fond memories of. I know there was a lot of people. It was a lot of the bathroom situation wasn't good at all. Too, it was always crowded trying to get to the bathroom. But as I got older, and for those who can afford it, because a baseball ticket can become pricey, I definitely would strongly recommend if you can afford it one of the clubs. You can find me at the Hyundai Club. That's where I like to go there where everything's included, especially with the ticket too and the parking. But Kev, by the end of the day, with the program and with the parking, you're talking about an upwards of $200 to $300 a day. And it's kind of pricey.
Yeah, I remember being able to go out to Shea and pay $10 to get in, and sit anywhere in the upper deck. And hot dogs weren't all that expensive, and beers and sodas were pretty reasonable. But now it's crazy. But the one good thing that they do is every Tuesday night they have $5 nights. I would imagine that $5 nights, but those $5 nights will get you hot dogs, a small beer, a medium-sized soda, and some other snacks. But really, I don't know how the average family can afford to go more than once a year, right? Because they're really pricing out. And what's crazy about it is that Steve Cohen, the owner, it was getting on fans for not showing up, but the pricing is what it is. But I guess that's the way it goes when you pay somebody 765 million.
Yeah, you got the $9 billion guy there, Soto, and Alonso is really doing a nice job. That's where you got to put your money. You got to put your money where Pete Alonso is. And Yankee fans are still aggravated that the Mets. I'm hearing all kind of profane about Soto and Soto at Yankee Stadium, and Soto's not even in the ballpark. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an unfortunate situation, I don't have a very good opinion on Soto. I think he was a nice addition, but I think we could have spent our money elsewhere and got got some more players, and especially pitching and stuff like that. We got so far so good with our pitching and our bullpen, but some of these games have been very close. But a win is a win, right, Kevin?
Yeah, and they do have the right now the lowest ERA in Major League Baseball, which is just ridiculous considering who's on this pitching staff right now. If you would ask me, would the Mets have the lowest ERA in baseball 1.5 weeks into the season, I would have laughed at that. But that's exactly what it is right now. So I'll take it. I certainly will. But I'll tell you what, I am not so sure how I would feel about the first game our Mets play at Yankee Stadium. I mean, that could get pretty nasty the way it's been so far. Once he's actually there, forget about it, right?
Yeah, I hope there's some decorum. I mean, usually, when we win championships, unlike other major cities, we're not burning the city down and ripping down traffic poles and stuff like that. New York is always has heads held up high when they win championships. They don't go around tearing up the city, and then they shouldn't. You're supposed to be happy. I'm sure up in Connecticut when the Yukon women won their umpteenth championship this over the last weekend. Nobody was tearing up downtown Connecticut, wherever they play down there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Stores, Connecticut. No,
yeah.
that's all pretty normal. In fact, the last time I remember something crazy happening was when the Vancouver Canucks lost in the finals to the Bruins. I want to say 2009 or 10. That city was destroyed by their fans, and this is their city. I don't get it. I don't get when fans do stuff like that. If you're just joining us, Tony Mondaro is here with us today. Tony, on our way out here, what's going on this weekend? Any big plans this weekend, or are we just a regular weekend heading over to White Castle at all on Saturday?
Hopefully, we had a little disaster here yesterday with a hot water heater going on us,
Oh
and my
no!
wife just, yeah, the wife texted me on Friday. She goes, in this family, we're always ready for the other shoe to drop. So on Monday morning, after I found the flood, I said, Janine, the other shoe is dropped. Now, for those who watch us and watch the background all the time, you'll see the clock says 17:45.
Right.
Tony Montero uses three times local, military, and behind us is the universal mean time. So that's where our weather products come out. So that's what 1745 is all about. And also, huge fan Kevin. We have the huge fan Lindsay. Lindsay from Washington Middle School watches us every week, and she requested a shout out. So Lindsay, this is your shout out. Thank you for watching, and for those who would like a shout out, you can always get in touch with me or Kevin, and we'd be more than happy to do that. Kevin does it with his fan base every week. That's pretty awesome.
Tell
And also like and subscribe, everybody. This Observer site. This way you get every notification. And if you saw when we were coming on the air, my head was down looking at our little chief. This is how me and Kevin communicate. If we lose our communication, I was liking and subscribing so I can get all the updates on my cell phone.
You are the best. You really are. But you got to tell me about Lindsay. She's a student at Washington Middle School, or
She's one of our fine teachers over at the
oh,
middle school there.
teacher. Okay,
Shout
okay.
out, shout out to all the front office staff there. You have Kevin and Joe Comprelli. You have Michelle. You have also Cindy and everybody else. Miss Myra, Miss Lopes. Everybody's wonderful there at the Washington Middle School. Just a stone's throw away here from the Weather Center.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of good things going on over there. And my buddy Laura Compton, who teaches art, is always sending us press releases and all so many great things that are happening on the art side too. And Kim Madalena also,
Yeah.
who is an epic teacher. There's so many great teachers at that school and all the schools. Really, we're very fortunate to be where we are.
And Kev, before I forget, I don't know how I almost forgot this. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, Bubble Boy at Harrison High School this year, as a drama club puts out Bubble Boy. From what I hear, it's supposed to be better than last year's show, Starlight. So I don't know how they're going to top that. And I'm going to try to get to the Saturday show this year.
And I believe the Friday show is come with the family, pay what you can, and that's always one of the great things that they do in Harrison. They want to expose the arts to everybody, and they don't want finances to ever be a factor. Isn't that a great thing that they do?
Yeah, absolutely, Kevin. I'll tell you, they put a fine show. If anybody out there has never seen a production from the Harrison High School Drama Club, Colin Shields and the company also with his mom, they do a tremendous job putting that together every year.
That's true. That is true. And I remember, it's interesting because I remember when you were there last year. I believe your words were, "This is better than anything you could see on Broadway," right? I mean, it was
I compared it to I compare I never now I've never been or full disclosure I've never been to a Broadway show ever 61 years so stepdaughters and family out there and anyone listening to this if you ever want to surprise Tony Mondaro Broadway show tickets I would be very happy to go with you.
I'll join you too. I've only been to one. It was Beauty and the Beast in 1997. And I got to tell you this though, very few people know this. There are apartments above our office. And one of the women who lives above us is starring in Betty Boop. I think it's called
Wow.
Boop. It's Boop on Broadway. So we have a Broadway star right above us, right at this very moment. So I may have to go see that one too, since we know her. Her name is Courtney, and she is a phenomenal actor.
Absolutely. And on the way out, Kevin, just to recap the weather, couple of dry days today, tonight, tomorrow, but cold. Remember that freeze warning's in effect. Overnight lows in the 20s tonight, only topping out into the 40s on Wednesday, perhaps near 50. If you have anything after school, especially tonight, bundle up, as grandma and mom used to say. It becomes unsettled from Thursday into the weekend. Doesn't rain all the time, but it's going to look threatening maybe a couple peaks of sun, and it starts to slowly moderate into Monday. And Kevin, and for the staff there at the Observer, have a great show today.
My brother, I will see you 1 week from today, if not sooner, if anything breaks. Enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you for doing this as you do each and every week. I couldn't be more grateful.
My pleasure, Kevin.
All right, there he is. That is the one and only, the immortal Tony Mondaro, and he joins us each and every week so that you can get a sense of what the weather is like. And then we always wind up talking more about baseball than we do the weather, but that's just the way it is. So thank you for dealing with that. Now, I need to tell you that this afternoon, the rest of the broadcast will be a little bit longer than usual, but earlier last week, I had a chance to sit down with Mayor Carol Jean Doyle, the mayor of Kearny, and interview her. As you know, last week I sat down with Sidney Ferreira, the Republican candidate, and now I sat down with the Democratic candidate, Mayor Carol Jean Doyle. So without any further ado, I am going to switch it over to that. Please stand by and enjoy the rest of this interview, and I will see you guys back here either Friday or sometime next week afterwards. Bye. Hi again, everybody. It's Kevin Canessa coming to you from the newsroom of The Observer and TheObserver.com. And today I am joined by Carol Jean Doyle, who is the mayor of Kearny. She became the mayor in November of 2023, and she is seeking a second, or actually a first full term as the mayor of Kearny. And she joins us today to discuss her candidacy and her candidates. Mayor, good to see you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Tell us who is running, and aside from you, and who the other four candidates are to start.
Well, in the first ward, we have Mary Trine de Castro. In the second ward, we have Jose Joe Rodriguez. In the third ward, we have Fred Esteves. And in the fourth ward, Jerry Facito. All of them are seeking re-election.
And you chose this slate on your own. Tell us a little bit about why each of them is an important choice for you to be on your team.
Mary Trine de Castro has been serving the council for a long time in the first ward. She is bilingual. She is a registered nurse. She is a hands-on councilwoman. She has been promoting health, reaching out to the community on certain issues. For instance, immigration is one of them. As far as serving as liaison to the Kearny Board of Health, she serves on recreation. She comes to the KMUA meetings. She's the liaison on that. So she has been really active in that community. especially bringing services. She was the big promoter to knock down the present building that we have, which has been knocked down at 50 Belgrove Drive,
Hmm.
and put up an annex. So many of her residents walk up to the Board of Health to get some of the uh, services that they need, whether it be for children, food, housing. So they walk up to the Board of Health, which is quite a way. They don't have cars. So she has been a big promoter to get the annex. And as you know, we put the shovels in the ground last week.
Yes. And Joe?
Joe, well, let me just tell you, I have been friends with his wife for a long time. I've worked with Joe and Ann through Project Graduation. That's how I met them. They are givers. They work hard in the community, working with the PTAs, reaching out to the community. He's also trilingual. And in the second ward, as the first, that is almost a must. So many of our residents, uh, English is not their first language. So to meet the needs of the people that live there, I very much thought that Joe Jose would absolutely be an asset. And so far he has been. He's taken an active part. He's been to ribbon cuttings. He's been to extra meetings. He made it his point to go on a tour of South Kearny. He made it his point to go to the police department and the fire department. So he's one of those council members that want to be in there on the ground floor. So
And
I'm
and
very excited about him.
and you correct me if I'm wrong, but if my memory serves me correctly, going back to 2017, when we unfortunately lost Councilman Jonathan Giordano, and we're picking a replacement, which ultimately turned out to be Peter Santana. You spoke up at that meeting as you kind of did when Jose was on the table, and have long been saying that you want anybody who serves in the second and the first ward to kind of be bilingual or trilingual. Am I correct in that
That's
assumption?
absolutely correct. At that time that you're referring to, we had interviews up at the Board of Health, and one of the candidates at that particular time only spoke English, as I do. And I said, this is not going to work. I did speak out on behalf of Peter Santana, and it was the right thing. And going forward, it's still the right thing. Dennis Solano is also bilingual, and I think this is what the residents there need. They feel comfortable going to someone that understands them.
That's right. Fred Esteves was appointed, but then won election last year, and now he's got to do it all over again. Why is Fred so important to be on your team?
Well, first of all, he was our ward leader for over 15 years, and he's also been super active at St. Cecilia's. He served on the zoning board for a good, I would say, 18 years,
Mhm.
and made a difference there. So he came on with knowledge already, and again, active in the community. He was questioning the properties that people are putting the fences right up to the town line.
Right.
And he's objecting to that because you can't get the property back once you have it. So he has been a very loud voice in the third ward. And he walked the third ward more than once. And
Yeah.
I walked with him, and people were very receptive to Fred.
People know
Fred
Fred.
also is bilingual, but in the third ward, it's not as important, but it is an asset.
Absolutely. Now we get to the fourth ward where Jerry Facito, if you live in Kearny, you know Jerry because you probably had him as your teacher at some point in time. And now he is retired from that. Tell us why he's such an important part of your team,
Oh
too.
my goodness. First of all, being retired is a plus because he also goes right to someone's home when they call and have a complaint. Jerry rings your doorbell. That gives the resident a voice. He serves as the police chair, and he's been really helpful with trying to resolve some of the issues with commercial trucks on the street. He's been a real pusher on that. Residents call him at 11 o'clock at night about
Yes.
trucks being parked, and he's there. He's also active with the American Legion. He volunteers his time at church. He's an elk, so he helps with the veterans. So he is chairing the Memorial Day Parade, which is May 22nd. I could not continue to do that after 30 years.
Right.
So he is taken over and he did a great job last year. I'm really happy that he decided to run again and seek reelection.
If you're just joining us, Mayor Carol Jean Doyle, the mayor of Kearny, is here with us today, and she is seeking reelection. We didn't ask about you, but at one point you said when you were running, maybe I'll just do this and fill out the term that Mayor Santos left you, but you've decided to seek another full term. Why did you decide to do that?
Well, I have so many projects that are in the works, and I thought that I want to stay to fruition for some of them, and hopefully we'll get to discuss them. And that was one thing. I also have the time. I have the energy. So far, so good, and I love what I'm doing. And I think people understand that. I've been volunteering for over 50 years in the town of Kearney. This is my home. I raised my children here, and I love Kearney, and
Uh,
I feel the people when they have these issues, and I think I'm making a difference. I
Let's
decided to run again on that.
Good. Let's get into some of the specific things that are going on in town. It seemed like, based on what I saw on the agenda, that it looked like you were canceling events that the Peruvian community had asked for. Am I misunderstanding what that's about, or can you explain
Well,
what's going on with that?
I'll be glad to. First of all, we have been supporting the Peruvian community for over 15 years. We even have a park down at Riverbank Park for the Peruvian contribution to the town of Kearney, and they continue to contribute. Uh, we had the festival maybe for about 7 years, but what's happened is we have outgrown the space. We're talking about thousands of people come, not hundreds, thousands.
Right.
And the chief of police had grave concerns after last year. So the week after the festival, I called on Jorge Ponce, who lives in NA, and his board. And I had the chief of police there, Recreation Chair Ralph Katafi, and DPW Chair Kevin Murphy to give me their input. And they all had the same thing. They've outgrown the space. So the overtime alone that goes on taxpayers' bill was $11,000.
Phew.
That's just the police department for a 1 day event.
Right.
Um, I that was one issue, but it's really the safety issue. The police chief said we can't do it any longer. We don't have the force, the manpower to cover it, and just shutting down Passaic Avenue when they leave. We're talking about thousands of people leaving. That's not to say about the residents saying the driveways are blocked and that they can't get in and out of, Hillside Avenue, Park Avenue. They can't even get out because of the traffic and the parking. And it's hard to find people if they're parked illegally. They get a ticket, but what good is that? You still
Right.
can't get out of your driveway. But it's the safety factor. So it was the week after the festival. We had to sit down with Jorge Ponce, and we said we want to give you enough time to find a different venue. But what we are doing, we're having two flag raisings for the Peruvian community. We're also having the parade, which will also cost overtime. And that parade is 3 hours, but it's absolutely a beautiful parade, and the streets are filled with residents. Again, I think I want to stress that this is a Peruvian association for the state of New Jersey. It's not a Kearney civic group.
Right.
So that's why they pull in all these thousands of people for this festival. But everything else we're going, we want the parade, we want the flag raisings, we certainly recognize the Peruvian contributions with restaurants and all the other things that they do for our community. So it's not like we said we canceled everything. It was just the fact of its safety factor, and of course, the overtime really was another issue. In fact, the police chief had to cancel vacations to bring in staff to cover that festival.
Wow. But the bottom line is, you never at any point, quote unquote, usurped authority and intervened or tried in any way to prohibit this from happening, which I
Abs-
believe was you
no,
were accused of doing at one point in time. That never happened.
that never happened. That is absolutely incorrect. It was the police chief who came and said, we can't continue with this. The crowds are way too big, and we can't handle the traffic and the manpower and the safety of our residents. I mean, they had to close down Passaic Avenue at the end for like 15 to 20 minutes. If there was any kind of an emergency, we would have been, hand tied. They'd
Sure.
say. So I'm going along with the police chief. Police chief said it's not safe. I have to think about the residents that live in Kearny, not the visitors.
Right.
That was
Mayor
the final decision.
Mayor Doyle is with us this today, and let's switch gears a little bit. And I'd like to address something that I discussed with Sidney Ferrero, who you're running against. And in his interview with me, he mentioned that the Kagan landfill still isn't closed, and that you haven't pulled your weight as mayor to keep the landfill closed. Would you address that, please? Is there any validity to what he said?
No. Um, in 2019, the landfill was closed. The NJSEA agreed, and so did Governor Murphy. Uh, we have an impermeable cover over it. We also have a gas collection system so that the odors stop. Um, in fact, we had last season, we had the recreation committee and the mayor and council were invited to go on a tour, and it was really exciting. And they're going to open it up again this spring for residents to take a tour. It's not open fully for them to all walk on, but
Mhm.
to take a tour and see just how they've improved the area, how it's much safer, how they have bird sanctuaries out there now, right in the middle of the marsh. It was fascinating, and that's not true. It is closed. They're not doing dumping there anymore. So, and I haven't had any complaints on odor. So the gas collection system is working. And so I'm happy to say that we got the support finally from the state. That was a long haul. And I have to give credit to the former Mayor Santos and to Christine Montague for preserving that and pushing to have that closed. And of course, I bought those caps that say cap it, and we now have an exhibit in our museum about the Keegan landfill. So and I would invite residents to stop up and see it.
Absolutely. I'm sure Josh will be happy to get the plug to go up to see the
Yes.
museum. If you're just joining us, Mayor Carol Jean Doyle, the mayor of Kearny, again, is with us. And I noticed a couple of events. I didn't get to go to any of them, but I noticed a couple of events that were designed to help immigrants to the town of Kearny. And there was a time where people may have suggested there were nefarious reasons for doing something like this. Can you explain what you did and why you had these services here in Kearney for people who are immigrants to the town?
Oh, well, first of all, I invited We Are One New Jersey. That's a nonprofit organization, and also Know Your Rights. We had a lot of questions as to what documentation residents would need. These are legal residents, by the
Right.
way. This was in no way trying to circumvent the system, the rules, the regulations. This was to help our legal residents make sure that they had an opportunity to hear and voice their concerns and have answers for them. We had an attorney come, an immigration attorney that was explaining their rights. We also had the North Hudson Action Corporation come and have health information and services for them. So it was a part of our population that was really in fear, going out, going to work. And we wanted to make sure that the residents had the right information because there was a lot of it going around that wasn't true,
Right.
um, so that they were protected and could calm their fears regarding ICE. Because, as you know, they're still making arrests. And I thought that it was important that our residents have that information. And I want to thank Councilwoman Castro publicly. Mary Treen was very instrumental in pulling all those pieces together, both at the Portuguese Club and at the Henrietta Benstead Center.
Since you became mayor about 18 months ago, a lot of new things have been happening. And I'd like you to kind of let everybody know some of those things that you have instituted for Kearney that weren't necessarily in place when your predecessors were the mayor.
I think one of the ones that I'm really most happy about is the services that we have at the Kearney Board of Health from Monday to Friday. Um, our county executive Craig Guy came over for a health fair, and I had asked him if he wouldn't, in fact, send someone over from the county for once a month because it's difficult getting over to the Corneliuson building over in Jersey City. We don't
Right.
have public transportation. And looked right at me. He didn't even hesitate, Kevin. He said, I'll do better than that. I'll give you somebody 5 days a week.
Wow.
I, I couldn't believe it. We've never had that attention ever. So there is someone there at the Board of Health Monday to Friday to answer a lot of the questions that would certainly have answers if they went to Jersey City, but they can't. There's just no place to park, and we don't have public transportation. That's one of them. I'm really happy about that. That we've met the needs. I'm a big proponent of bringing the services to the people.
Right.
I think then you get full response. You know, people respond definitely if you bring the services to them. That's one. The annex, I think I touched a little bit on there with Mary Treen in the first ward. We knocked down the trailer and we're going to put up another annex for the health department. So many of our residents don't drive. I told you they walk up to the Board of Health. This will certainly help them. They're looking at an October door opening. So I'm very happy about that. Now that was in the works. That's been put in the works, but it's coming to fruition. We have an addition now to our branch library. We're
Mhm.
working on that. We've got the plans. That's something else new. We brought the mobile unit for the from the DMC. We did 400 real IDs. We've never had that before. We had the mobile unit come in for breast cancer, thanks to Ava Landowski. We had mammograms for over 50 women. And it was 25 with insurance, 25 without
Wow.
insurance. I have two more dates coming up, April 25th and July 2nd. They have to call for appointments, but they're coming back. Getting back to the DMV, we have a date in May. I don't have it locked in which date, but they have to follow the website, the county website, Kearney website, and book an appointment for that. So we still have that. I also had the International Women's Day where I invited, along with the KUEZ, we invited women's businesses to come and women, but a lot of women owned businesses. They did a lot of networking. They thought it was so successful. I did it again this year. And again, a lot of women encouraging other women. And I think that made a difference. I found a sponsor to underwrite a play. It was Mary Norton and Eleanor. We had that 2 weeks ago, Friday.
Right.
It's extremely well attended. And the bottom line in that was you can disagree politically, uh, Republican, Democrat, disagree on candidates, but at the end of the day, you can still be friends. And that was the message in the play. And that was definitely well received. Another initiative is Hunger Free. Stephanie Wilson had requested to come to Kearney previously and was turned down. She came to me and I said, no, food is definitely an issue, especially with the prices going up. And they're talking about additional prices with the tariff for the
Yep.
imports, especially of fruit and vegetables. And she has served over 300 people. She's been here at least 5 times. We've got a new location. We're at 314 Belgrove Drive while the annex is under construction. We were here, they were there this past Saturday and served a lot of people, and they loved the area because the American Legion was wonderful. They served coffee to the volunteers, and of course, they had the bathroom facilities. Also, another initiative is the Hometown Heroes. Um, The Urban Enterprise started it, and that's recognizing veterans that have served, not necessarily have passed, but have served our country. And it was a great honor to see that go up. They had 66 additional going up. We have
Oh,
enough to do it. So that was another one. We certainly do a lot for our veterans. We have Kearny Voice that's run by Bill Sweeney, and we support that through the Elks. He's at the American Legion on Wednesdays. Recognize our veterans. Of course, I mentioned the parade. And also, we put out like 130 wreaths, the three houses, Post 99, 1302, and the Marine Corps Detachment. Those veterans put the wreaths out right before the Memorial Day parade, and they do a little service at each place, whether it be a flag, whether it be a bench, whether it be the school where we have named those facilities for a veteran that's fallen. So, such as Peden Terrace.
mhm.
So we have a whole group of volunteers that help with that. And certainly we do all we can to honor our veterans. Um, Let me see what else. May is Senior Citizen Month, and we recognize a senior citizen. Um, I don't want to announce her name yet, but we have someone picked, and
Okay.
I'm very excited about that. We also have the annual boat ride that's sponsored by the county, and we hand out the tickets through Kearny. We have our annual senior citizen picnic, which I had to give that up after 30 years. Staff at Theodoropoulos from the Fourth Ward, he managed it last year. He did a great job, and he's going to do it again this year.
Good.
I have also just approved a pamphlet with all the services that are available to our senior citizen population, and that should be ready in May, since May is Senior Citizen Month. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, I know.
I'm getting exhausted just listening to it. So I can't
I
imagine you're
know,
out there doing it.
and you know that there's all the fundraisers.
Yep.
We just had Watco do a dinner theater, sold out both nights. So all of these things that are going on. The Women's Club last week was the evening department membership to raise money for scholarships. This tonight is trivia night for the Junior Women's Club. The Women's Club's doing the book and author luncheon. So there is a lot going on in Kearny, and I'm so happy to be part of it.
If you are just joining us, Mayor Carol Jean Doyle from the town of Kearny is with us. And I'd like to kind of circle back to a couple of the things that you
Sure.
talked about. Tell me about Craig Guy. You know, what he is, to me, it appears that he has done more for the town of Kearny in just a year and of 3 months as county executive than I can ever imagine. How important is it for you as the mayor to have such a great rapport with the county executive?
Extremely important. As I told you, we have the opportunity to have services come to Kearny, and we couldn't have done it without our county executive, Craig Guy. He was the one that said you can have someone 5 days a week. That's Marciello, and he has done a wonderful job. That's number one. Number two, funding. Um, the reason that we're going to be able to put this annex together is funding through the county. Also, I have to say this. Craig had called me about a building that's located on Schuyler and Bergen,
Right.
and they're looking to purchase that for a food distribution. Because I told you there is a lot of issue with the food. People are really concerned, and they feel the crunch of food. I want to say deprivation, but
Right.
there is
Insecurity.
yeah,
Yeah.
insecurity. Yeah, there is food insecurity, and it's real. Coming to work today, I passed the Presbyterian Church, and I passed there at 7:45, and there was a line already. So no one's going to wait
God.
2 hours
Right.
unless they're hungry.
Yeah.
That's asking a lot, and that's all through the winter too, Kevin, not just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
So Craig has seen that, and he has said that he was going to try to purchase a building
Wow.
for us to hold it. So that would be for West Hudson. So that's one thing. The other thing is too, he has also through open space, looked at the crew house to see how he can help us that way. And has right now we're in the process of getting that money um, awarded to us. And hopefully we'll be able to put a second floor on our present building, which was built by volunteers, by the way.
Right, right.
So I had an engineer come, and the building is sturdy enough to put a second floor on. And it has to be ADA compliant. So we have an elevator that will be able to go up to the second floor. So there's a lot going on. Also, I asked him if he couldn't allow the garage that's there, it's not used, to be knocked down and put another garage up so we can put all the shelves in there to protect them.
Mhm.
So all of that's being into consideration right now. And hopefully we'll be awarded that full amount of money so it won't affect the taxpayer.
Yeah.
So he has been hands-on. He's been to Kearny at least a dozen times for different events and to see how we're doing with food distribution. He came over for at the senior building
Yeah.
and was with us for that. I've never had that before with any other county
No.
executive. So
No.
he's a special person.
Yeah.
And he's got Kearny in his eyesight, and I appreciate that.
When you think about a politician who has kept his promises, when he ran, he said that making sure no one in Hudson County goes hungry was a priority. He meant it because you
He
see it
did.
each and every
I
week,
see it.
and you're going to see it even more now with this if this does come to fruition.
Yeah, he's very serious about it. They opened up a pantry up in Hoboken, and he invited me to go to that so I could see what it was like. So yeah, he is a man of his word. I have to absolutely very happy to be part of his team.
Absolutely. One of the other things that I was pretty impressed with myself was the Mandy lot. You were able to get that paved. How did you pull that off after all these years
I
of
want to
trying?
tell you. That's not easy.
Yeah.
The Mandy lot, we've had a lot of complaints with because of the big potholes and so on and so forth. So they agreed, the owner of Mandy agreed to pave it. Our engineer, Michael Neglia, said, oh, I don't know if we can get it done in time for the winter. And because Mandy did it themselves, they didn't have to jump through the hoops that you do as a government
Right.
agency. So they were able to get it done in record time. And you know what was ironic? That one warm spell we had this winter
Mhm.
was just when they hired the company to go ahead and pave the lot.
Yeah.
So the lot's been paved. There is one special spot we have set aside for the owner of the laundromat.
Mhm.
And then the others are opened up to our residents. And I think almost every spot has been rented. And
Tremendous.
that's $125 a year.
Per- uh, Tremendous. If you're just joining us, Mayor Carol Jean Doyle is with us today. I hesitate with this because it is going to turn into a big issue, but we know and we have all read and seen that the water rates are going to change soon. How did this happen where you're going to see such a significant rise in the water rates?
Well, let me go back about 15 years. I'm on the finance committee. I'm chair.
Right.
Our CFO, Shoaib Farazi, had suggested that we raise the water rates at that time a little bit at a time because we were taking a utility has to be self-liquidating.
Right.
So to make our water utility self-liquidating, we had to take $3 million from our working budget to subsidize the water utility. And so, where does that come from, and how do you address it? So, we've been doing that now for the last, I'll say, 10 years. Um, my predecessor was very much against raising the water rates. So, we did bump them up a little bit 2 years ago, and our CFO is saying we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
So, we had a presentation at the council meeting so that the public would understand where we're coming from and where we're headed. And one of the things that I was a little upset with, more than a little upset, I guess, was the fact that so many of our residents were complaining that they were getting estimated readings. So I asked them to please give me a count. So they had 75 large companies getting estimated readings.
Jeez.
We had 863 residents. That's 8% of our residents getting estimated readings. Um, that's so unacceptable,
Yeah.
because estimated readings, that's not legit. Well, again, it's over a year, next year, the next, it's still estimated. And then in one case, one resident told me that their bill was over $1,500,
Oh,
and that's
jeez.
estimated. Yes.
Okay.
So I said, it's unacceptable. What are we going to do about it? And moving forward. So at the same time, we were looking again at our budget and said we've got to make a difference. So we are increasing the water rates. We're still, I think, 384 is roughly the price. We're
Yeah.
still under 475, and some municipalities are paying $8. So we're still under the line, and I think we can cover that $3 million. That's the goal, and hopefully, we'll get the promise. Veolia has promised that they have over 1,200 new meters that they can install, and they're
Good.
hoping that by the middle of the summer they can get these estimated um, homeowners up to speed along with the businesses. Again, they don't think, we don't think that it's fair that like laundromats, car washes, those kinds of businesses are not paying their full share. By us subsidizing, it looks like we're liquidating, which we are,
Right.
but the money is coming from our taxpayers. So this is a long time coming, and as I said, sometimes you just have to step up to the plate and say, we've got to do it. Our rates are still low enough, and hopefully we can take care of these estimated residents, because that's a lot of complaints. And Veolia knows I'm not happy about it,
Hmm.
and either is the water committee. So they are trying their best. I have to say this. I've also had complaints regarding not Kate, who answers the phone when you call. But if you have a complaint, then they send you to somebody else. And they are now trying to um, make the person who's answering these complaints, they're going to a class on how to talk to residents, because I hear they're snarky, they're rude.
Yeah.
Um, they almost laugh at some of the residents when they have complaints. Not fair. I mean,
Yeah.
so they have already said they're going to address that, and hopefully they will, because if I get complaints, I'll be right back on the phone with Veolia.
Good, good. If you're just joining us, Mayor Carol Jean Doyle is here with us today. She, of course, is seeking her first full term as mayor of Kearny. Hard to believe that it's only her first full term, because it seems like you've been doing this for 100 years, even though many of them were on the council. I want to pivot a little bit to the library, because I know the library
Hmm.
is very important to you, but
It is.
yeah. Well, tell me, explain a little bit to me about how the library works, because my understanding is that 0.5% of all of your budgets every year have to go by law to the library, and I never knew anything about that. So, can you explain how that works, and then how it has benefited the Kearney Library so much with Josh Humphrey?
Okay. First of all, it's 10 years ago, the state put into effect a 15% total tax rate had to go to the library. So that almost makes it autonomous. They have, Josh Humphreys has really opened the doors to the library.
Hmm.
And I would invite and encourage everybody to not only go to the branch, but also to the main if you can find parking. That's a difficult thing, but some of our seniors find it, but they do go to the branch. Um, they've opened the doors. What it's done is expanded the facility. They now have a garden on the side. They have another reading area on the out. This is on the outside of the library. And then on the inside, they have improved downstairs. They've made great improvements to the meeting room, and also they have other offices there that you can sit and read quietly. They have made a big difference, just with the funding, because they handle their funds. They have
Right.
a very active board, and they handle their own funds, and they've done great things. Also, Josh is on the museum committee, which I also serve on, and they've done some wonderful things there. They're looking to do more air conditioning up there. They've got the old loud air conditioners, so whenever we have a program that goes into warm weather,
Mhm.
it certainly gets in the way of the speaker. So
Sure.
he's working on that. They just got a new roof. Happy about that. The previous roof, I might add this too. We have not had a roof assessment in 22 years. Think about that.
Oh my God.
And so, and we haven't had it in 22 years, and a lot of our roofs are all getting replaced, from the fire department to the town hall to the library. And unfortunately, the library had a leak and it ruined some of our artifacts that we had stored in there for the museum. So Josh has been right on top of that, and trying to get all of that put in place, plus the air conditioning. And he's added great programs. There are programs almost, well, definitely weekly,
Daily.
but
Yeah.
sometimes like
Almost
three or
daily.
four times a week. And
Yeah.
he has the funds now to do that because of the subsidy. And it's done by the state, and we're happy to have it that way.
Full disclosure, when I moved to Kearny in December of 1985, the very first friend I made was Josh Humphrey. So,
Oh, he's great.
it's great to see him doing so many great things for the library. Really, I was there on a Saturday a couple of months ago when we had the event about the diner book that the gentleman from Clifton wrote, and the place was bustling on a Saturday at 11 o'clock in the morning. Where you don't see libraries at eleven
Absolutely.
o'clock like that, really, especially on a weekend.
I know. And also, don't forget, he has the street fair in the summer. They have the um, street fair, and he has the music there.
Yep.
So even if you're not going to buy fruit or visit the vendors, you can sit on a chair and just listen to the music. He has it varied from Marathi music to 50s music. So he does such a great job with the programming. And also, don't forget, we have the book club too.
Right.
April 1st, we had, well, let me see, April 6th, this starting this weekend is
Right.
library week.
There you
So
go.
he's got some, yeah, library week. So he's got some plans for that as well.
Excellent. On our way out today, there's one last thing that I was hoping to address, and it has to do with something that not all residents necessarily know about. It's called the safer grants that the town is able to take advantage of. Can you explain what they are and how it has benefited the fire department and I guess in the same regard, police department as well over the years?
Well, the Safer Grant, that's paid, not taxpayer dollar,
Right.
that's paid through the Safer Grant. And then once that grant is over, then they go into the regular departments, whether it be police or fire. And that's federal government. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that they don't cut that out. Again, uh, everybody, not just Kearny, but all the municipalities are concerned about the cuts that are happening under this present presidential administration with cutting the grants. So I know that at this point we have, I'm not sure on the number. I have to check on that. How many are going to be moved into the regular departments? Because we have a lot of retirements that are up and
Right.
coming.
Right.
And we and we're trying to fill it in. We're trying to keep the TO table of organization up to date, and so hopefully we can do that. This past yesterday, actually, they had the job fair over at the high school, and they had the police department there as well as the fire department trying to recruit some of the students that will be graduating.
That's
That's
great.
another that was another thing that we really pushed for. Both Flora and myself trying to get that job fair in because we wanted to give students an opportunity other than college because we are a blue collar town.
Yep.
College is expensive, and also the military. Not that we don't want people to serve in the military, but we wanted to give another option. And there were a lot of opportunities there. And the police and fire were there trying to recruit because, again, with retirements, they're going to need police and fire. So trying to keep up our table of organization.
I think that's one of the things that I've been impressed most with this current superintendent. There used to be a myth that if you didn't go to college, you were making a big mistake. That's no longer the case anymore. And to see
No.
all these careers being exposed to kids is a wonderful thing that didn't happen in the 80s and the 90s necessarily, right?
Oh, they invited Dave Moran. He
Mm,
is right. He's got a very lucrative business, his towing business. He owns half of the area down there, Arlington Avenue, and has developed it, fixed up the buildings. Lynn, Signs by Lynn. Look what she's done with her business. I mean, she is absolutely an artiste, to say the least. The work that she has done for our town has been wonderful, and she is a great businesswoman. She has expanded her business. And again, she was there explaining this is what you can do. I think Estella's empanadas, she had a dream. Look what she's done. And she's a woman in
yeah,
business. The same with Lynn. Just keep it going. If you have a dream that's there. They also had uh, introducing the students to internships and saying that if you do take an intern or you do want to do an apprentice program, you get paid for that.
right.
It's not for free. And then this way you can work on a license, whether it be plumbing, carpentry, electrical. So the kids seem to be really interested in that, taking the pamphlet. So I think to have that kind of a job fair through the school, I think it's wonderful. To say nothing about their culinary
Oh,
department, their motor, they have the uh, automotive department, to name just two of what they have to offer our students. And it's so encouraging to me, um, as not only the mayor, but as a resident, to see that we have the openness with our superintendent and her board. She's got a very good board board of education. So again, the way she feels about her board is the way I feel about my council
right.
members, all trying to do what's best for the town of Kearny.
The last thing that I like to do when I do a one-on-one interview is throw it over to you and allow you to say anything you want as a way to conclude our time together. So, is there anything you'd like to say to the people who are watching today who may not know you or anything of that nature?
Well, I certainly believe in an open door policy. I have a wonderful administrative assistant, Lila DeCastro, who is can set up an appointment if you need a one-on-one. I'm just happy that I've had this opportunity, Kevin, and I want to thank you and Lisa for allowing the public to hear where I stand on issues that affect all of them. And again, to be fair, I've known you for a long time,
Yes,
and I'm just so happy that you're where you are and I am where I am. And I have to give you credit. To you for recognizing some of the things that we have done as a mayor and council and how you've highlighted in the Observer. Uh,
thank you.
yes, thank you. I think the public, a lot of people still grab that newspaper. I don't know what I would do every week if I didn't have that. I miss the Jersey Journal, but certainly the Observer certainly covers our local area, and that's important to know what's going on. And I want to thank you personally for allowing that to have this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mayor Doyle, looks like you're getting a phone call or something right
I
now, right here,
am.
right? Just wait, listen, we got right to the very end. So we did really, really well without interruptions. I want to thank you too.
Oh, hold
For
on.
full disclosure, Mayor Doyle and I have known each other for 30 years. So I want that to be perfectly clear that we have known each other for a very long time. We've had ups and downs over those 30 years, those early years especially, they were a lot of downs. So I don't want anybody to think otherwise. But I want to thank you for taking the time to do this today with us. And I hope we can do it again soon, especially before the election.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it. On
Okay.
behalf of myself, thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.